from his introductory speech. He's a regenerated Rivers man now, as it were. Because I've had to listen to Jake's previous interviews. If he sounded this way, ab initio, we probably would not be where we are today. But we have to be very careful. The issues are clear. The Supreme Court decision today, the judgment of the Supreme Court today was unequivocal. And I have the privilege, from your snapshot, you will see that I was in the court from the beginning to the end of the issue. Now, all of the issues that arose in Rivers State that led to the dispute have been put to rest. The Supreme Court said today that the rightful assembly is the one led by the Right Honorable Martins Chike Amehule. It was that clear. And the Supreme Court said it is not heard of that a state governor will disregard the constitution that he swore to uphold by attempting to govern the state with 12.5% of the legislature. The Rivers State House of Assembly, which I probably was a member for 12 years back to back, we have it's a 32-member house. Incidentally, the 10th Assembly, they lost a member. Then they remained a 31-member house as at now. 27 are on one side, 3 are on one side, and you pass. In fact, using the words of Justice, the Honorable Justice Akomaye again, I think it's like recalling what the Court of Appeal had said. It was a joke taken too far. This was a blatant disregard for the Constitution. And I heard my uncle Jake here say that we have to be careful the things we do. I agree with him, because we must be very careful the people will entrust our leadership to. And that is why the Bible is clear. The Bible is very clear.
Pastor Chidi.
Yes, you must be careful. You suffer not a witch to live.
I wonder who the witch is.
Be careful those you give the children's food to. You recall the encounter between the Ethiopian eunuch and Philip. He said, "Understandest thou what thou readest?" And of course, the Ethiopian eunuch said, "How can I understand without being explained to?" And Philip explained, and thereafter he chose to be baptized. Politics is not an all-comers game. We must be careful. Part of the problem we have in this country is that democracy throws up all kinds of people to you. Because we won't be where we are. Common sense would mean that you cannot. The governor is from Opobo. The deputy speaker, now his deputy speaker, is from Opobo. There are one other fellow, they are in that they are gathering, is the majority leader, then that's the house. Then what they do every day that they want to sit is to open the doors and call people from the streets, especially former members of the house, to sit down. And we have the likes of Jake Ekele here, who ordinarily would have sought audience with the governor and said, this is not the way to go. But unfortunately, we have elders in Rivers State who chose to lead the governor to where he attended. Imagine a state where the Supreme Court said today that there is no governance in Rivers State. And as a Rivers man, I felt sad. I felt sad. And today, he's talking about the suffering of the people. No, the people will not suffer. As long as the Supreme Court said, if this doesn't happen, let this happen. Which is more important, the desecration of the Constitution or payment of salary? One thing led to the other. So we must look at it that way. If the governor goes today and purge himself, just like quoting the Supreme Court, purge himself of all of the atrocities, right? Of course, monies will be released to him. But you cannot. Look, the Americans will forgive you for murder, not for financial crimes. You cannot. Something as big as appropriation bill you take to 3 people. And they have said, the Federal High Court by Justice Omotosho first said, no, you have no budget. And delivered the judgment sometime in January of 2024. They appealed. The Court of Appeal upheld the judgment of Justice Omotosho. And the Court of Appeal, Okon Abang, in his own words, said this was the joke taken too far. In order to protect your office, you moving into another arm of government with earth-moving equipment to demolish a whole House of Assembly. And nobody is talking about that. So today people are saying, oh, the Supreme Court, you have said that they shouldn't release money. Why would they? Something led to all of the other states that have budget, that the Supreme Court said they shouldn't give them money. So I like to associate myself with the sentiments expressed by my uncle here to say that let them move now. He's talking to them. He knows, because the reason why my uncle is appealing is because that it's a trend that the governor of Rivers State does not respect decisions of court.
No, I don't agree with you.
I didn't say when he was. Uncle, just wait 1 second. When I'm done.
Okay.
So there is this penchant for continued disregard for decisions of court. That's why probably he's appealing. I like to use the word probably. He's pleading with him to please obey the Supreme Court judgment. The Supreme Court judgment is enforceable in any part of the Federation. So we don't need to appeal to an individual to
Gentlemen, let me do it.
And the aspect of the local government, he talked about the local. No, there's something he talked about whether the likes of Chidi Lloyd will be reinstated. The Supreme Court has decided that. In the Attorney General of the Federation against the Attorney General of the 32 states, where he said, in the event that the president of a federation can extend the tenure of a president, the House of Assembly can also extend the tenure of democratically elected chairman. Pursuant to that, the State Assembly, led by Right Honorable Martin Chike Abehule, extended the tenure when it was discovered that the governor was not prepared to conduct the election. And that was why, one of the reasons why the Supreme Court nullified.
But in the eye of the law, there was no Amawule.
No. Which law are you talking about? We moved from the court of the Federal High Court affirmed the speakership of Amehule. The Court of Appeal affirmed. The Supreme Court today affirmed and said, take the budget back to them. Would the Supreme Court have said, take the budget back to Amehule if they didn't recognize him as speaker? So all of these shenanigans, especially the one that my uncle here has referred to, was a press statement released by the spokesperson of the Rivers State government.
No.
Ugo Chinyere, there's one fellow with one red cap and something on top of it. Ugo Chinyere released a press statement.
No, Chief.
And now interpreting to the governor of the.
So the problem here.
I'll come to I'm telling you.
He mentioned something. What the Supreme Court, just a moment, so that we don't misinform the public. What the Supreme Court did not say today was whether or not all the local government chairmen before the election were reinstated. The Supreme Court ruled that the election of October 15 is invalid.
Good. Now let me tell you, the Supreme Court will not, because if the Supreme Court begins to say everything, by now we wouldn't have left that court. There was a decision of the Supreme Court in the case of Attorney General of the Federation against the Attorney General of the 32 states of the 36 states, right? Wherein, among all the other things that were canvassed, the Supreme Court did say that the state assemblies, like the National Assembly, can indeed extend the tenure of democratically elected chairmen. Now, in Rivers State, until the expiration of our tenure, who were the democratic?
I'm still hoping that we will get the judgment, the printed version of the and signed copies of the judgment, because
of today's judgment.
Because you heard the judgment as it was read in court, but the judgment as I listened to never said categorically that it should be resolved.
So I'm telling you,
other interpretations.
I'm telling you,
I understand you are making inference from a former judgment of court.
No.
Because I don't want our court, and I don't want a confusion in Rivers State based on what you are pronouncing, and you are not the court.
Let me tell you, there was a dispute between Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu and the Lagos State government, right? Now, the Odumegwu Ojukwu in that case dragged the Lagos State government to court for resort to self-help, right? I, Chidi Lloyd, also, quote, relied on that judgment by the Supreme Court to enforce my fundamental rights when I had issues with the state government sometime in 2013. That is the whole gamut. Excuse me, sir. That is the whole gamut of case law. Now, the Supreme Court has said so, has decided that state assemblies have a right to extend tenure. Now, the Supreme Court today has laid to rest the issue of whether